Have you ever wondered why, in a sea of voices promising success, it's the lone voice of truth that often goes unnoticed? Let's dive into the world of Micaiah, the prophet who dared to speak the truth to power, and see what we can learn from his life. In the heart of the Hebrew Bible, we find our hero Micaiah, whose name poses a profound question: who is like Yahweh? This question is not just a part of his identity, but it forms the very essence of his life as a prophet. Micaiah was a student of the great prophet Elijah, learning under his tutelage and carrying forward his legacy of speaking God's word with courage and conviction. The stage for Micaiah's story is set in a time of political turmoil and spiritual confusion. The kingdom of Israel was divided. On one side we have King Ahab, one of Israel's most wicked kings, locked in a conflict with the Syrian leader over the city of Ramoth-Gilead. On the other side we have Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, a man committed to seeking God's will. Caught in the middle of this power struggle, Micaiah emerges as a beacon of truth. While Ahab surrounded himself with 400 prophets who told him exactly what he wanted to hear, Jehoshaphat insisted on hearing from a true prophet of the Lord. That's when Micaiah stepped into the picture. Unflinching in the face of royal intimidation, Micaiah, unlike Ahab's prophets, did not sugarcoat God's message. No, he relayed God's vision as he saw it, predicting Ahab's downfall in the impending battle. This was a man who valued truth over convenience, who chose faithfulness over popularity. In a world of pleasing falsehoods, Micaiah stood firm in delivering God's uncomfortable truths. He teaches us that sometimes the right path isn't the most popular one, and that speaking the truth requires courage. As we journey further into Micaiah's life, let's remember his unwavering commitment to truth, and see what other lessons we can learn from this prophet among kings. Truth, they say, is often stranger than fiction. But what if the truth is also less popular? Now let's take a step back in time and venture into the court of King Ahab. Picture this: Ahab, one of the most notorious kings of Israel, is preparing for a battle. He's got 400 prophets by his side, all chanting assurances of victory. Yet there's another king in the room, Jehoshaphat, who insists on hearing from a different voice, a lone voice in the wilderness, a voice of truth: Micaiah. Now Micaiah wasn't your everyday court prophet. He was one of Elijah's disciples and known for his fearless devotion to God. So when Jehoshaphat requested for his counsel, Micaiah was brought before the two kings. At first he did something unexpected. He echoed the false assurances of Ahab's prophets, but this was not to last. Micaiah was about to drop a truth bomb that would shake the very foundations of the court. He revealed a divine vision predicting Ahab's death in battle. This was not the victory chant that Ahab and his prophets had been singing. This was the stark, unvarnished truth. It was a truth that Ahab found hard to swallow, a truth that was unwelcome. But it was the truth nonetheless. Micaiah stood alone, surrounded by 400 voices of deception, yet he chose to voice the truth. His courage, his commitment to God's truth was unwavering, even in the face of opposition. He didn't hesitate to speak the truth, despite knowing it could lead to his downfall. His was a voice that echoed God's will, a voice that did not falter in the face of falsehoods. This is the story of Micaiah, a prophet who dared to stand alone, to speak the truth, even when it was unwelcome, even when it was unpopular. His voice, the lone voice of truth, reverberated through the court of King Ahab, a reminder of the divine will that was about to unfold. The lone voice of Micaiah echoed the truth, a truth that was about to unfold. Is it easier to accept a lie that brings comfort or a truth that brings discomfort? This question echoes in our minds as we delve into King Ahab's reaction to Micaiah's prophecy. Ahab, known as one of Israel's most wicked kings, had a particular penchant for pleasing falsehoods, a trait that shone through in his response to Micaiah's foretelling. When Micaiah, the lone voice of truth amidst a chorus of falsehood, revealed his vision from God predicting Ahab's death in battle, the king recoiled in disdain. Rather than listen to the stark truth, Ahab chose to ignore it, opting instead for the comforting lies spun by his hand-picked prophets. This preference for comforting lies over unwelcome truths was not simply a personal failing of Ahab's, but a stark representation of his flawed nature. This flaw, however, was not without consequence. Ahab's disregard for Micaiah's prophecy led him to march into battle, fueled by the false assurances of his prophets. The outcome, as foretold by Micaiah, was Ahab's death. The reality of the prophecy came crashing down, proving the veracity of Micaiah's words and the infallibility of God's message. Ahab's death served as a harsh reminder of the power of truth. It showed that no matter how comforting a lie may be or how unwelcome a truth might feel, the truth ultimately prevails. It underscored the importance of not only seeking the truth, but also being willing to accept it, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. As we reflect on Ahab's tale, we are reminded of the importance of embracing the truth, however unwelcome it may be. We are challenged to question our own responses to uncomfortable truths. Do we, like Ahab, choose to ignore them in favor of comforting lies? Or do we have the courage to face them head-on, understanding that the truth, however unwelcome, ultimately leads to freedom and liberation? Ahab's death served as a stark reminder: the truth, however unwelcome, prevails. So what can we, as modern-day Christians, glean from the life of Micaiah? Well, let's dive right into it. Firstly, Micaiah's life teaches us the importance of seeking God's will. As believers, we are often faced with choices and decisions that can shape our lives in profound ways. Micaiah, in his time, chose to align his words and actions with God's will, even when it went against the popular sentiment. This, in our lives, could mean choosing the path less traveled, the path that aligns with our faith and convictions, even when it's not the most comfortable or popular one. Secondly, Micaiah serves as a reminder to discern true prophets. In his story, we see 400 prophets who told the king what he wanted to hear, but only Micaiah dared to speak the truth. In our world today, we might not deal with prophets, but we do encounter plenty of voices claiming to know the truth. Micaiah's story urges us to seek wisdom and discernment, to sift through these voices and find the ones that align with God's truth. Lastly, Micaiah's life embodies the courage to speak the truth, even when it's unwelcome. Micaiah knew his prophecy would not please King Ahab, yet he chose to speak it anyway. He was unafraid of being the lone voice among hundreds, unafraid of the consequences. And isn't that a lesson we all need? To find the courage to stand up for what's right, even when it's not easy, even when it's not popular. So how can we apply these lessons to our everyday lives? It's about making choices that honor God, seeking wisdom to discern the truth, and having the courage to stand up for what we believe in. It's about finding our own voice, our own truth, just like Micaiah did. Micaiah's life stands as a testament to the power of truth and the courage it takes to voice it. Let's strive to live out these lessons in our own lives every single day. In a world filled with comforting lies, how willing are you to be a Micaiah? A question that echoes the essence of our exploration into the life of the prophet Micaiah. It's a challenge that extends beyond the confines of this video, reaching into the core of our everyday lives. As we've journeyed together through Micaiah's story, we've seen a man who stood alone, unyielding in the face of pressure, unflinching in his commitment to the truth. Micaiah's life was not an easy one, and yet his courage and faithfulness to God's truth left an indelible mark on history. So let's bring this home. What can we glean from Micaiah's commitment to truth? How can we apply these lessons to our own lives? In a world that often shies away from the uncomfortable, the difficult, the challenging, Micaiah offers us a different path. He invites us to step into the light of truth, to seek God's will, and to courageously voice this truth, even when it's unpopular or unwelcome. He encourages us to be discerning, to sift through the noise and identify the true voices amongst the false. In doing so, we not only honor Micaiah's legacy but also pave the way for a world rooted in authenticity and truth. It's not an easy journey, but it's one that's worth embarking on. So I challenge you today to be a Micaiah, to seek the truth, to speak the truth, and to live the truth. And as you navigate this journey, remember you're not alone. Just as Micaiah had God, so do you. Remember, in a world that often prefers comforting lies, it's the Micaiahs who changed the course of history. If you enjoyed this video and want more biblical insights, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.